Check out the brand new shirts, including Trusty Blue and the Sting Money design, over at ProWrestlingTees.com/616entertainment. This video is also brought to you in part by the Patreon producers, without whom content like this would not be possible. What is evolution? Some minds may jump to that weird-ass 2001 sci-fi comedy starring Orlando Jones. Some may think of the stable of Ric Flair, Triple H, Batista, and Randy Orton that formed in WWE back in 2003. Factually, though, evolution is the gradual development of something, especially from a simple to a more complex form. And that's what we're here to document today. The development, the growth, the evolution of Mortal Kombat's resident movie star, Johnny Cage. From a Jean-Claude Van Damme ripoff originally named Michael Grimm, to a seemingly rudderless background babyface, all the way to the main hero of the entire franchise. JC has had a hell of a run, and today, we're gonna cover the entire journey. What's up, Dan-Dans? My name is Ian. Welcome to another episode of Mortal Kombat Monday. If you watched the Season 2 premiere of this show, which was the evolution of Sub-Zero, you know how I like to take these rides. We're not looking back on every action with the benefit of hindsight. No, sir. I want to go through history, game by game, dealing only with the information we had at that point in time. I think it's more fun this way. We get to see what was going through the writers' and developers' minds at the point of each individual release. Now, without any further ado, let's get to it. Mortal Kombat's original roster is comprised of 7 unique characters, each complete with their own set of special moves and fatalities. Here in 2021, that sounds insanely small, but at the time, it was par for the course. Street Fighter II featured 8 playable characters, as did the original Virtua Fighter, so relax. The most popular choices in 1992's original MK title were Scorpion and Sub-Zero, the mysterious ninjas with the ability to command fire and ice, respectively. But these hooded hitmen weren't the only choices who came packing a punch. Insert Johnny Cage. Yeah, he looks familiar. Very familiar, if you've seen the 1988 martial arts film Bloodsport, starring Jean-Claude Van Damme. Before we get into the information this inaugural entry in the series gave us, let me just get it out of the way. Mortal Kombat was initially conceptualized as a fighting game that legitimately starred Jean-Claude Van Damme. Long story short, this idea didn't work out, and the team at Midway decided to start from scratch, but hey, maybe a thing or two from that initial pitch bled into what was eventually released, right? Learn all about the franchise in my History of Mortal Kombat series, link in description. Johnny Cage's MK1 bio tells us that the character isn't just another fighter, but an A-list Hollywood star. His ending, which is non-canon, notes that Cage wins the tournament and returns to the States to star in Mortal Kombat, the movie, as well as its many sequels. This is non-canon in the sense that Johnny didn't win the tournament. As we know, Liu Kang won the tournament. But get used to the idea of our guy participating in the Mortal Kombat tournament and using the knowledge he'd gained in order to create new avenues for himself in Hollywood. Because the writers are about to recycle this bit over and over again. The game offers zero explanation for his ability to throw whatever the hell this energy ball is, nor does it define what the secret of the shadow kick is. If Johnny Cage is just an actor from the US, what the hell are these powers all about? Sub-Zero and Scorpion, I get. They're crazy ninja dudes, but Johnny Cage? It's weird. Do you think Johnny Depp has a secret power he's not telling us about? Can Emily Blunt nail a magical strike of some kind? We may never know. I doubt either of them can pop a head off the way Johnny Cage does, though. At least I hope they can't do that. Honestly though, if Emily Blunt could pop heads off, I'd let her uppercut my shit in a sec. Mortal Kombat 2 hit arcades a year later, in 1993, and our boy made the trek over into the sequel in a big way. What's he up to? Well, his bio says that he disappeared, but he's right here. So what the hell are they talking about? Cage traveled with Liu Kang to Outworld for this second tournament, looking for ideas for a new script. Earthrealm comes out on top, with Johnny's ending once again depicting him as the ultimate victor, which, again, is not canon. We learn in Mortal Kombat 3 that Liu Kang defended his title as Mortal Kombat champion. But this part of Johnny's ending where Mortal Kombat the movie 2 was huge, that's gotta be real, right? And that Mortal Kombat 3 was inevitable? Well, not for him it wasn't. Johnny Cage fans eagerly awaiting the chance to play as their favorite character in the franchise's third installment were sorely disappointed to find that Johnny Cage was not in the game. There's no explanation for where he's gone, either. He's not mentioned in the story introduction, he's not included in anyone's bio or ending, he's just gone. The only reference to him at all is in the cemetery stage, where a headstone reading Cage can clearly be seen in the background. This apparent hint that Johnny had died set the community ablaze with rumors of cheat codes on how to unlock him, but they were all fake. Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 would release shortly thereafter, adding new characters and stories to the universe. Johnny Cage was not added to the game and would remain completely missing for another year plus. It was 1997's Mortal Kombat trilogy that finally began to answer fans' burning questions regarding Johnny's disappearance, so get this. Number 1, he's back. Number 2, he was gone because he got killed in a battle with Shao Kahn's goons, specifically Motaro. So how the hell is he back? Well, the whole deal with Shao Kahn merging Earthrealm and Outworld, everything was all fucked up, so his soul couldn't ascend to heaven. Does that make any sense? No, seeing as though Shao Kahn had absorbed the souls of everyone that wasn't an Earthrealm fighter, but whatever. I feel like it was so obvious in this era that the developers were just making shit up as they went along. There was no big, crazy roadmap. They were just like, guys, the people miss Johnny Cage. Get him in there! You might notice there's a new actor playing Johnny this time around, and that's because the guy who originally played him was one of many OG Mortal Kombat actors suing Midway for what they considered unpaid royalties for the console ports of the first 2 games. This naturally might lead to speculation that maybe the lawsuit was the cause for taking him out of the game for a couple years, but that's not the case. The truth is that statistics showed Johnny Cage was one of the least chosen characters in Mortal Kombat 2's arcade run. And if you're not a draw, if you're not the reason someone's popping a quarter into the machine, you're low priority. You're the bottom of the totem pole. So, our boy was axed. But he's back now, so no worries. Johnny's trilogy ending shows that fighting at Earthrealm's side and defeating Shao Kahn would restore order, but would also force Johnny's soul to rightfully ascend, ending his life once more. Earthrealm obviously comes out on top, with Johnny's help, and we say goodbye once again. This is the first time we've seen our boy doing something that isn't selfish. He's not just looking out for himself and planning a new movie. He wants to see the world become whole again. 5 years deep into Mortal Kombat's lore, and we've got our first piece of character development for good old Johnny Cage. It's just too bad he went to heaven, right? Just kidding, Mortal Kombat 4's roster is stacked with returning favorites and new faces, and Johnny Cage is a member of the team. How the hell did he come back from being dead again? His bio screen tells us that when Shinnok's forces invaded, Cage basically just pitched to Raiden, "Hey, can I help?" And Raiden was like, "Yeah, okay, that's not a bad idea." If you didn't understand by now that death means nothing in the MK universe, you're a lost cause. People just come back to life because they asked to come back to life. It's amazing. Remember the character growth established in Trilogy of Johnny putting his personal gains aside for the greater good? Yeah, that's totally wiped out. Johnny's Mortal Kombat 4 ending sees him accepting an award and getting pelted with garbage for being a dickhead on stage. 1 step forward, 2 steps back. But hey, at least Raiden forgot Johnny was supposed to be dead, right? He probably should have sent him back up into the sky, but he didn't. What a cool lightning dad. 5 years later, in Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance, the man is back on his bullshit. He's on the set of Mortal Kombat, The Death of Johnny Cage, when Raiden contacts him letting him know there is once again a threat against Earthrealm. Cage jumps at the opportunity to leave the project. Any guesses as to why? Well, he dislikes the script, which repeatedly depicts his death and resurrection. The Midway team are all in at this point. They don't care about making Johnny a serious hero. They don't give a shit whether fans want to see him fill the shoes as Earthrealm's #1 guy. They're clearly much more entertained by breaking the fourth wall with his creative direction so far, wouldn't you say? Where does Deadly Alliance leave our guy, you might ask? If his arcade mode ending is to be believed, which it should not be as it's non-canon, it's more of the same. Once again, Earthrealm wins, Johnny comes back and makes a movie about the adventure. 10 years in at this juncture, and Johnny Cage still hasn't shown a modicum of growth as a character. Isn't it funny how many of us clung to Johnny Cage and loved him when, looking back on it, he really didn't do shit for the first 10 years of his existence? 10 years in, Liu Kang was a 2-time champion. He took down Shang Tsung and Shao Kahn, and he was killed in the opening of Deadly Alliance. 10 years in, Sub-Zero was killed and replaced by his younger brother, who battled with his home clan over a cyber initiative. 10 years in, Scorpion was returned from the dead, gained vengeance on his murderer, oscillated between heel and babyface, and learned the truth behind his family's death, yada yada yada. 10 years in, Johnny Cage made some movies. Do you see what I mean? But at least he survived this time. I don't think I could handle another death. Whoops! Johnny Cage isn't in Mortal Kombat Deception. Turns out he died again in the final assault from Deadly Alliance. Some Tarkatan soldiers outnumbered our heroes and left them laying on the front steps of Onaga's fortress. Look, here's his body, in a blink and you'll miss it moment from the opening cinematic. Ugh. 2006's Mortal Kombat Armageddon once again has Hollywood's greatest martial artists on the front lines. How the hell did he come back to life this time? Well, you'd never know unless you finished Mortal Kombat Deception's arcade ladder with Ermac, where his ending explains that he was able to free the souls of Johnny Cage, Jax, Kitana, and others from the control of Onaga. If you're keeping score, that's 3 distinct deaths and 3 distinct resurrections. Things take a turn here, though. Johnny Cage's Armageddon bio is long as hell, and I promise you, it's not another movie pitch. In his own words, Cage is explaining that Earthrealm is without a protector, now that Raiden has gone dark and Liu Kang is dead. Johnny began having visions of Shinnok, the fallen Elder God and boss of Mortal Kombat 4, returning and doing some bad guy shit. So he took up the mantle of Earthrealm's hero himself. This is huge. This is a major step in the character development department. Fuck a movie. Fuck dying again and having nothing to show for your efforts. Let's make Johnny Cage a hero. Let's do this. Johnny Cage is not featured in 2008's Mortal Kombat vs. DC universe. In the Special Editions mini-comic, we can see him getting zapped out of existence, and his name is present on a tombstone in the cemetery level. So, yeah, dead again. So much for all that character building, right? But hold on. MK vs. DC is barely canon. At the time, we all thought it wasn't canon, so big deal, right? 2011's Mortal Kombat reboot was probably gonna pick up Johnny's quest to be Earthrealm's hero, right? God fucking damn it. But hold on again. Raiden restarts the timeline in MK9's story mode, so we're good. Johnny's back again. It's the old Johnny. Full of his own shit, selfish. Now he's hitting on Sonya Blade, which this is actually the first time the games have gone this route. It was the Mortal Kombat movie that initially coupled them up, believe it or not. There's even a moment where Motaro and Johnny Cage are fighting on the streets, and Raiden shows up and kills Motaro, saving Johnny's life. This is a deep, deep cut, but it's a reference to Johnny's absence from Mortal Kombat 3. Raiden taking out Motaro means that Johnny's no longer going to be killed and resurrected 6,000 times. He made it. But towards the end of the story, everyone starts to die. Sindel massacres Sub-Zero, Kitana, Smoke, Jax, and more. We know the drill by now. Johnny dies next, right? Actually, no. Johnny Cage makes it out of Mortal Kombat 9 alive, and the closing shots are literally of Raiden, Sonya, and Johnny, surveying the damage of the war against Shao Kahn. This was a major turning point for MK's biggest box office draw. His arcade ending even states that, with the help of the Order Realm, Johnny Cage will become powerful beyond mortal imagination. But that won't stick, right? Son of a bitch, it actually did. We have finally shed the skin of Johnny's former self. Gone are the days of dying in every other game and coming back only to die again while adding nothing of substance to the plot. Johnny is the man now. Early on in Mortal Kombat X's story mode, our guy takes down Shinnok in one-on-one competition. A power awakened inside of Johnny when Sonya was about to be killed, giving him the strength to defeat an elder god. Raiden, luckily, knows what the hell this power is, so he can explain it to us. It turns out, Johnny isn't just a talented martial artist and actor. He's a descendant of an ancient Mediterranean cult, which finally explains not only his newfound power, but his energy balls and flash kick shit, too. Don't think I forgot about that. I had been waiting for an answer to this shit forever. In this new timeline, Johnny and Sonya get married, they have a daughter named Cassie Cage, and alright, time to jump 20 years into the future. Here we go. Look, it didn't work out with Sonya and Johnny. Sonya is a Special Forces agent first and a mother and wife second, which she made abundantly clear by constantly choosing her work over her home life. Her daughter, Cassie, has grown up into a Special Forces vet herself. We don't need to go full play-by-play, but our man is finally the main focus, so let's take a second to appreciate this spotlight. At one point, Johnny is horrifically wounded and nearly killed before Raiden is able to make the save in the nick of time. Johnny talks Sonya down from killing Kano, noting that they'd never get the info they need if Sonya made another mistake she'd live to regret. Towards the end, Johnny's fucked. He's trapped by D'Vorah and practically being eaten alive by her swarm of insectoid minions. Shinnok is literally draining the life from his body when, what do you know, Cassie Cage makes the fucking save in a huge moment that reveals that Johnny's ancient power has been passed down to her. Cassie wipes the floor with Shinnok, and we close with the Cage family reunited. If you didn't pop for this, after all the shit we've been through with Johnny's stops and starts, you're not a Cage fan. You're just not. After more than 20 years, our homie is the main event, and it feels pretty goddamn good, I must say. Mortal Kombat 11 allows the Cage family to finally live happily, together the way it was supposed to be, until Sonya is killed in a botched mission down in another realm. It's a whole thing. Johnny didn't want to go through with it, Sonya persisted, and that's kind of the least of our worries. There's a new big badass boss named Kronika who controls the sands of time, and she's brought in younger versions of our starfighters from different timelines, different dimensions. Sonya's back, but it's not our original Sonya. We've got two Johnny Cages now. The older, wiser family man, and the young one who loves the smell of his own farts. We see younger Johnny pitching older Johnny a twin movie called Timequake, for fuck's sake. The two get on each other's nerves, and when they inevitably throw down, it's our older, wiser Johnny that walks away the victor. See? Experience counts. MK11 is so insane. The image of old Johnny beating up young Kano, and old Kano capturing young Johnny, it's mind-bending, to say the least. A major highlight is when Sonya murders young Kano, which also kills old Kano, who is threatening the life of young Johnny Cage, which would kill old Johnny Cage, while also eliminating any existence of Cassie Cage, as she was his offspring. Are you confused? Because I'm trying my hardest here, I promise you. Aftermath, Mortal Kombat 11's story mode expansion, doesn't do much for our box office bad boy. His younger self gets his ass kicked by either Shao Kahn or Sindel. That's about it. So where does that leave Johnny Cage heading into the eventual Mortal Kombat 12? Well, that's anyone's guess. The canonical endings of Mortal Kombat 11 and Aftermath set the table for what could be a massive, and I mean massive, shift in the Mortal Kombat landscape. So who even knows if Johnny Cage will be there at all? It took a hell of a long time, a lot longer than I think many of us remember, but in the end, we watched the legend of Johnny Cage grow in front of our very eyes. And wherever we go next, there's only two things for sure. I'm along for the ride, and somebody's getting caged. There it is, Dan-Dans. That's the evolution of Johnny Cage. Remember to let me know down in the comments who you want to see get the evolution of treatment, and I will do my damnedest to make sure that happens. If you like this video, feel free to head over to patreon.com/616entertainment and sign up at any level you choose. You don't have to, but it's your support that makes videos like this possible, so it all helps me out. Until next time, I love ya, and I will see you soon.